to the Board of Trustees meeting for Florida Gateway College. We're going to begin tonight by asking Representative Brannon to lead us all in the pledge to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Representative Brannon. Okay. Our next item on the agenda is the audience of any citizen. The Florida Gateway College Board of Trustees will hear any citizen who wishes to address our board on a one-time basis pertaining to a relevant topic. If the board wishes to hear more about that topic, the topic will be scheduled for a future board meeting. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Time dedicated to this topic will not exceed 20 minutes. I don't think we have anyone tonight. Then we will move forward to the approval, our next time approval of board minutes for representing the meeting on September the 8th, 2022, our last regular meeting. You've had the minutes, board members. I really appreciate you all sending out the board packet electronically early. That means a great deal. Thank you so much. So we've had the opportunity to look at the minutes. Are there any changes, corrections, or amendments? If there are none, can we receive a motion to approve?
I so move.
Mrs. Allen makes a motion to approve our minutes as they're printed. A second?
Second.
Dr. Sorensen seconds the motion. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. The motion is carried. Our next item is the student government report by Toraya. We are so glad to have you tonight.
Good evening. The Student Government Association has been very busy since I last spoke with you. On September 21st, 4 of SGA's e-board members participated in the Florida College System Student Government Association's President Assembly. The state e-board informed us about potential planks that the state organization will support this year. For October, SGA partnered with the Art Club to host a paint pouring activity on the 11th and the 12th. Other activities planned for this month are snow cones, horror movie trivia, the Fall Festival, and Reason Art. Does anyone have any questions?
That's succinct. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate what you do. Okay, the next item on our agenda, we're at our presentation of the consent agenda, and the items on our consent agenda are routine business, state directives, or compliance items, and all these items have been reviewed by our board attorney, who we're so happy to have back with us, and have been available to the board for its examination. Any trustee can request a topic to be removed from the consent agenda and discussed further. Typographical errors will be noted and corrected in the board minutes. Is there any item on the consent agenda that a board member would like to have removed for separate consideration? If there are none, we would like to entertain a motion for the approval of the consent agenda by the board.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have Mrs. Norris making the motion to approve the consent agenda. Dr. Tepedino seconds. Any discussion?
I just have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it just struck me as odd. So we got a donation from Roundtree Moore of directly from them for the foundation. Is that for the automotive program?
Yep.
Or is it just going to sell it and we have money for the foundation, or?
This man was no actual automotive that they got in on the trade and offered it to us so that our students had access to a different type of engine.
Okay, I'm just, great they thought of us. I mean, did it come to them as a great idea, or have we been cultivating that relationship?
We have an advisory board, and we have various local businesses on that board. And our current instructor and myself were on that board and mentioned getting more autos in is good because it gives them different access, and they responded.
Wonderful.
Okay, great, okay. Again, it just struck me as different, and I wanted to know more about it. Thank you.
It's a great clarification item. Thank you, Mrs. Morris. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion to approve consent agenda, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. The motion is carried. Academic affairs.
Good evening.
Good evening.
As a reminder, FGC Theater Program will be presenting Mary Shelley's Frankenstein at the Levy Auditorium on October 27th to the 30th. We are actually going to be hosting Lake City Middle School, Suwanee Middle School, and Fort White High School for a student matinee on Friday, the 28th at 10 a.m. So if any of you are interested, just let us know and we'll get you tickets. The Teacher Academy would like to share some success from the 2020-21 completers of our Professional Educator State Exam from the EPI program. Our students outperformed the state average in all 8 competency areas, so we were very happy about that.
Yes.
And for an example, our FGC average was nearly 14% over the state average for competency of knowledge of various types of assessment strategies for determining impact on student learning. Now, we don't have the data for the other colleges, we only get the data for ourselves, so, but we did outperform the state average.
Great.
Mr. Alex Ellman, our HVAC instructor, has seen a 67% increase in enrollment for the, since over the last 4 years. We currently have 30 students in that program as compared to 18 from 4 years ago. So we're pretty happy with what he's been doing to increase enrollment. Our instructional council, which is made up of six faculty members in our campus, they have met and they've spent the last year developing and refining a list of standards that they believe all of our online classes should adhere to. And those actually take in the practices from our Quality Matters training as well as our AQ training. And they are now taking those standards and they're developing a rubric for us to actually use to evaluate the courses. And so we're actually going to roll that out to faculty in the spring during Welcome Back, and we're going to ask faculty to actually have one of their courses that teach online, one of their courses online to meet those standards for this fall. So they'll have that semester to actually bring their courses up to those standards. And then after that, we'll expect them to start rolling it out to the rest of their courses. Study abroad is back for summer 2023. We actually accepted 14 students for this summer. And of those 14, we have students will be able to earn 6 credits while living in the UK for 3 weeks. And they're going to be living in Harlexton College again. Of the applicants, 4 students applied for the Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholarship. And this scholarship words up to $5,000 for study abroad. And we'll find out, that's actually offered through the U.S. State Department, and we'll find out the results from that in December. And this year's courses that we'll be using for that credit is art history, the Renaissance to the modern, and as well as creative writing. And they have planned excursions to Grantham, Lincoln, York, Nottingham, Oxford, Cambridge, and London. So they're going to be going.
Wonderful, great.
I know, I wish I could go. So, after winning first place in the Swanee Valley Regional Science Fair in February, one of our dual enrollment students, Jackson Crook out of Union County, won 4th place in the Senior Division of Earth and Environmental Sciences at the State Science and Engineering Fair for Florida. And he also received an honorable mention at the Genius Science Olympiad, which is an international high school project competition. So we're very proud of him. And he also extended his thanks to Janet Barger in our environmental science program who helped guide him in that project. And then last but not least, great news from Dr. Juan Guzman. He received an exciting letter from one of our previous students, Caroline Johnston. She graduated back in 2017, summa cum laude, with a GPA of 4.0. She was recently given acceptance by early decision to Florida State University's College of Medicine. So we hope she will bring that back to us and help serve our community. So, any questions?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gavin. Student Affairs, Public Information, Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. FGC's cross country's Kayla Dismartin was named the NJCAA Division II National Women's Cross Country Runner of the Week by the National Junior College Athletic Association. The NJCAA made the announcement as part of the Player of the Week Awards for Wednesday, September 14th. Kayla is a sophomore at FGC from Brantford, Florida. She holds a personal record of 21 minutes and 9 seconds in the 5K, but more importantly, she holds a GPA of 3.8 in the classroom. The FGC women's cross-country season continues tomorrow at the University of South Florida Invitational at 5:30 p.m. Our team is currently ranked number 15 in the nation. The FGC fishing team concluded their season at the Strike King Bassmaster College Series presented by Bass Pro Shops. Both Seth Slanker and Jackson Swisher made it to the Final Four of the pinnacle of collegiate bass fishing. Seth made it to the one-on-one national championship showdown where he led most of the day, but ultimately fell short with a catch of 7 pounds and 11 ounces versus 8 pounds and 13 ounces, a difference of 1.12500 pounds. So close, so close. Both Seth and Jackson represented FGC with pride on a national television broadcast on Fox Sports 1. They continuously thanked Florida Gateway College throughout the week, and the commentators spoke very highly of our anglers, our college, and our president. Our TRIO program held their annual financial literacy student luncheon on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. We had over 82 students in attendance over the 2 days. Our financial aid office spoke to our students about the FAFSA and FGC award process. Lisa Burnham from St. Leo University discussed transfer opportunities, financial awards, and that they provide in their bachelor's degree programs. The Public Information Office has been very busy this month. We've had over 7 news releases sent out and had 3 requests from Channel 20 for on-campus and Zoom interviews. Our news releases included stories on the National Fishing Championship, the NJCAA Runner of the Week, men's cross-country team announcement, Hurricane Ian closure, Hurricane Ian supply drive, open door grant, and FGC Fun in the Park. In student activities, our student activities department concluded Hispanic Heritage Month with an authentic Latin American lunch being served in our student activities center. We had over 200 students, staff, and faculty members in attendance, and this was one of the largest events on campus this fall in our student activities department. And finally, we currently have 52 students that have paid to be chased by monsters with chainsaws, stalked by the infamous horror movie icon Michael Myers, and enter the macabre mind of the Weeknd as he stalks them through a surreal nightmare of his after-hours music. I am describing Universal Studios' Halloween Horror Nights. Please keep our director Amy Deacle and Shawana Wilson in your thoughts as they lead this excursion to Orlando tonight. The students asked me to attend, but I told them I'd rather take my chances with our Board of Trustees. That concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Just a comment for you. I happen to sit on a board with the director for WCJB in Gainesville, and he is so complimentary always of our college in terms of just the information that we send in. He was actually saying he gets better information from us than he does from the other college. So I just wanted to thank you because I know that it's a lot of work and it'd be easy to just go, if I don't send this in, no one will notice. It gets noticed.
Thank you. I have to say that Stephen Kulati, who is our coordinator, does so much of that work too for us. It's unbelievable the job he does. I will pass that on to him.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for noting that, Mrs. Morris. Okay, enrollment and marketing. Ms. Schrader.
Good evening. I'll start with fall enrollment. We are currently up 1.6% in headcount. So that's 2,875 students, Mr. Crawford,
Thank you so
compared
much.
to 2,831 students at this time last fall. And I also have the credit hours for you. That's 25,187 credit hours compared to 24,914 credit hours. Spring registration opens October 31st, so we're preparing for that. Spring 23, we're calling it the Spring of Opportunity. So we have, that includes students can take 3 credits and receive up to 3 credits free. They can also take 6 credits and receive up to 6 credits free. We've also worked with academics to create an AA degree path that's made up of 6 to 8 week mini-mesters. So students can focus on 2 classes at a time, but still pursue the AA full-time. So that's appealing for a lot of adult learners. And so we're hoping that goes well. We also have the Open Door Grant in spring that I've talked about previously for eligible CTE programs. That's up to $3,000 toward tuition, books, and supplies. And then also students in spring will be able to take advantage of the free after-school childcare service that we're preparing for. This Saturday, October 15th, is our next 75th anniversary event, and that will be in downtown Lake City, our Fun in the Park. And I am going to pass out the map because it's kind of hard to explain. So you have your glasses maybe, you can read it.
Thank you.
There's hot dogs.
There's 500 hot dogs.
I know they are.
yes.
I already know that.
I think I have enough.
That is great. That's great.
We'll probably have 1,000 people.
So you can see that many of our academic and occupational programs are going to be there, be present, have a table, offer information on their program, offer an engaging activity. We have sent flyers to the elementary school, so we're hoping we have a good turnout for the fun run, and that they'll wear costumes. So we'll have a costume contest and everything. There is a train ride that's free. Everything is free. So the hot dog meal, the root beer floats, the popcorn, all of that. So we're excited to give back. Next Friday, October 21st, is Union County High School Experience Day. This is coordinated by our recruiters. Students, so juniors and seniors from that school will be touring and seeing welding, a chemistry class, fire and EMS programs, and our ag programs. So they'll have lunch in the grill, they'll hang out in the hall at the end of the day, and we do have all of our Experience days reserved for the remaining schools all the way through January. We'll be doing those on Fridays. Our dual enrollment director, Julie Cannon, and the recruiters have been very busy. They've been going to all of the schools and doing advising sessions with our dual enrollment students. So they're prepared to register for spring, but they also lay out their whole degree path with these students. They take a lot of time to figure out where they're going to school after, what they want to do, and also make sure they're fulfilling their high school requirements. And it's a lot of work, and they do a great job with that. So they've been to Belmont, Bell High School. Coming up this month, they have CHS, Fort White, and Dixie that they're going to be going to. Tonight, they are at Baker County High School for a dual enrollment parent meeting and college night there. And then they'll be presenting at a dual enrollment parent meeting at Fort White High School on October 19th. Our financial aid office, they promoted the opening of the FAFSA, the 23-24 FAFSA that opened October 1st. They did a FAFSA week last week with several events. They did Music, Money, and Mayhem in the Grill, and that was a trivia and a finish the lyrics contest, which was very interesting to watch. And then they did Get the Scoop on the new FAFSA and some other events. Did a great job with that. And then finally, at the last meeting, I was asked some follow-up questions on college night that we held in August. And just to clarify that event, that is part of the Florida College Tour. So we're one stop on a schedule of many stops that these schools go to. And we had 27 of the schools were from Florida, 12 from Georgia, 2 were from New York, and then the others were kind of spread out, Alabama and some other places. I do have that list as well if you want it. I just don't want to get in trouble for doing too many handouts or that's loud, so.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
That is a wonderful, robust report, and I was given a little heads up that the numbers are coming
They're
tonight.
coming. Yes.
And you did not disappoint. That was a very robust report.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Anybody have any questions for?
I do have a
Ms. Schrader.
question for you, and it doesn't necessarily need to be answered right now, but, so when we're going to continue with the, the free classes and things like that, which I think we have seen have been beneficial, we've had some of these
Right.
things, that money's coming out of the CARES Act money, is that right? So if we haven't thought of a plan for when that money runs out,
We
I'm
are
sure
act-
Dr. Barrett's one step
Oh,
ahead of
yes.
everybody.
Every day I say the same.
We're
thing.
actively
'cause
talking
mean,
about that.
Right,
Yes,
because
yeah.
and I guess, well, it sounds like we've done well with it, but I guess the first thing to do is to really get some data and to see if it has been successful. Has it provided for us the things we hoped it did? It certainly
Right.
created a buzz, and so, but anyways, I just would, keep in the forefront of like, what's our plan to try to, if we think it's successful, are we going to try to continue it? And then the second question is more for Dr. Barrett in terms of, last year we had maybe some hesitancy with dual enrollment in certain areas. There was maybe not a push for it as much. We had some counties that are always very, very strong in sending their students. Have we seen a tick up in dual enrollment in one of the counties that was a little reticent?
You want to answer that, Casey? I mean, I know, she knows the answer, because we talk about that, too.
So, I think we're just slightly down in dual enrollment.
Overall, or just in that one county?
Overall,
Okay.
with that one being one of them, yes. We are looking to
So are they contributing it to being overall, or are they the main? I mean, is everybody else
No.
up and they're down and it's down because of
They're
it?
contributing
Okay,
yeah.
so everybody's down.
a little bit. Not everybody.
Not everybody, but-
Right, right,
I mean, it's just such a big county
It's-
that they
I know.
swag everything anyways.
right.
Um,
So we are looking to do more promotion, like awareness of dual enrollment by sending out mailers to all of the high school students.
I'm
To
just
the
amazed
parents.
we have to promote dual enrollment. I get asked by that all the time from parents.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what else there is to do, Dr. Barrett, other than.
Well, I think we're going to, I mean, it is a different approach that we're talking about, is reaching out publicly to, instead of doing it internally through the schools. So that
Right.
will cause some challenges, I think.
Okay, well, I'm
So, I
glad
mean,
you're-
that's
I'm
why
glad
we're
you're
look-
saying
but
that,
we keep on
because-
talking about it, and we're like, I mean, we're
What's
trying
the
to.
definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing
Right.
again and again, and we know that parents want it. I've been clear before in my position that it's one of the few benefits that we as a college are able to provide to all students regardless of their socioeconomic background, because we've got all kinds of scholarships and awards and this and that and the other, but this is something every student who academically is prepared can take advantage of. I'm just kind of shaking my head going, I know I get asked all the time about dual enrollment from parents. I think I even sent someone to Julie, maybe even to you, who got, conflicting information. And so I do think it makes sense to just, let's get the right information out into the right hands so that people can make decisions for their students and not have somebody else make those decisions for them. And the parents like just trying to survive. And then you're like, what happened? I thought I could do this. So, I agree.
I agree.
As a former high school principal of many years, and we charged our guidance department, and they were very faithful to it, in promoting dual enrollment, and they did, and our students prospered from it, but I do know that we had some slip through the cracks, and I think it's a wonderful idea to go externally and promote it through the flyers. I think that's a great idea. If you can get the addresses and really target
We're
those
going
kids.
to send it to the parents of.
Yeah, I think if you can target those junior, seniors,
So just
sophomores.
for someone, at the end of the day, it's always about the money. It's about the FTE. So just tell me, where does the FTE dollars come in that create the issue where someone wouldn't promote it to us?
Okay, yes. I mean, this probably should be the workshop we should have.
Well, like I said,
No, so I'll just clarify, and you could probably look at the administration who made some of those decisions. Some of this, I don't want to look at the blame, we just want to solve the solution. But some of the issue, and Matt and Paula and Tony and Casey, because they were there at the time, some of this has been, we looked at what we called an SLS course. And I will tell you, the SLS course was being used by some school districts not any of the ones that are here today, I'll just say, as a starter for our 9th grade dual enrollment. And we had taken a look at the success rates of our SLS and how it was impacting the future of a student going to UF, UCF, and so forth, and it wasn't really doing what we had thought it was going to do.
Okay.
To help students. So when we took at that time, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was during COVID, remember we had those meetings, and we found that we had 30 sections of students, so you have 24 in every section, if you have 700 students, and you times that by 3 credit hours, it's 2,100 credit hours we've let go by, because we made that decision as an institution that it wasn't being the course that we needed, because actually, I guess we all did it. So.
We, like when you say
We, the
did we,
institution of faculty, we looked at that course and we said, this wasn't helping our students.
No, it sounds like the right
And we
decision.
made the right decision. So some of that, so the school districts became very upset. Some of them became very upset because they were using that as a major enrollment in it. And so they used that as college prep, and actually they said it's college prep. And that course should not, when we do dual enrollment, it should not be considered college prep. And they
I would
said it
agree
was
with
college
that.
prep. So that's some of our own decisions. So if we take a look at 30 into 2,100 credit hours, that's 70 FTEs that we could look at it one way.
I appreciate you giving that, because that's a reasonable answer for why we would be down in a certain place if we have put in place academic standards that are really meant to help that student be successful. I mean, if we were just basically, the place where they can send 9th graders and the parents are happy because they're off campus, which is really what I think.
And then we took it to another level. We actually offered a different course in SLS. It's more of a post-graduation course here. And that was part of our accreditation. So actually, we've resurrected that course in a different way to help our students be successful. And that will be accepted by courses, sort of like a capstone course.
Okay.
So that was one issue. The other issue, when it comes to the financials, a lot of people would say that, and I mean, I have said to some of the schools, it's a financial issue, so I'm not going to say I didn't say that. But the issue of the financial situation is that it works both ways. And when we talk about external, some schools really have, and they have to control their own schools. I mean, so when we open this up to an external thing, they're trying to make sure their monies are being paid for FTEs, and they're not just sending them all to us, because they won't get credit for those full periods of day. So there's a lot of internal, when we do this external stuff, it's going to cause a lot of internal conditions that we're going to have to deal with from the school. So I think it's the right thing to do.
I'm glad you clarified it in more detail, because, it is something that'll probably get some chatter, and it's good to know the background of it, and, I don't think anybody.
And we actually could go in for probably an hour to talk about it. And there's some pathway issues that we could talk about, but that may be an issue because there's pathways that are, and the pathways are great things, but sometimes they can be also not beneficial to the students, so.
Thank you.
Good.
Sorry about that, Casey.
No.
Do we talk about this all the time? Every day we talk about this, so.
Okay, thank you so much. Mrs. Holloway, Business Services Report.
Good evening. I'd like to request approval for budget amendment number 3 for the capital outlay plan for the unexpended plant budget Fund 7 for the fiscal year 2022 through 2023. We are requesting approval of Fund 7 Budget Amendment 3, which has been revised, so the report reflects actual revenue, revised budgeted expenditures, actual expenses, and updated projects through September 21st, 2022.
Board, you hear the director's request. We'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve budget amendment 3.
Mr. Brandon makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Allen seconds the motion. Is there any discussion on this item? If there is none, all in favor of that, members of the board, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign, and the motion is carried.
Thank you. My next budget amendment The college requests approval of budget amendment number 2 to the restricted current fund, Fund 2, for the fiscal year 2022 through 2023. This amendment recognizes revised award authorizations and new grants received in the 2022-2023 fiscal year. And I've also added a notation on the second page where it shows the actual budget amendment, that these amounts listed include all Fund 2, which is Perkins, Rules Sparsely, CARES Act, GEAR, Open Door, all foundation support accounts, student activity accounts, and various restricted accounts. Basically, the entire Fund 2 budget.
You hear our director's request for the amendment, budget amendment number 2 be approved by the board. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Dr. Tevin. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dr. Surrency. Is there any discussion by the board? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried.
Thank you. The next is our annual spending plan that we have to present to the Florida College System. The college requests board approval of the 21-22 Florida College System Carry Forward Spending Plan in pursuant with Florida Statute 1013.841 for July 1, 2021.
Thank you. You hear the director's request for the approval of the annual spending plan. Do we have a motion for approval?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the annual spending plan.
Thank you, Dr. Surrency. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Norris gives us a second. All in favor, is there any discussion? I'm sorry, any discussion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
If there's any opposed, the same sign. The motion is carried.
Thank you. Any
Thank you.
questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we have our next item is the President's Report. Dr. Barrett.
So just as a follow-up to the mention, which was mentioned earlier, if anybody knows, we are in need of an electric car for our automotive program, so I don't have to spend money to buy a car. So if you know if anybody wants to donate something, let me know. Maybe Dr. T, your Tesla? No. Tesla, no, I'm kidding.
I'll
I'm
just get on
kidding.
Twitter and I'll just get on Elon
Just
Musk.
kidding. I'm just kidding. But we are in need of one, so as we try to do that training. Just so let you know, is the board self-evaluation reports are due by next month. These are the annual reports that the board self-evaluates themselves as part of our accreditation process. So we'd appreciate if you could return them at the next month's meeting. As I mentioned in the last meeting, we're in the process of finalizing our architect and engineering early site plan for the STEM 2 building. We'll be looking to try to sign an early contract with an architect with an existing agreement we have to start that groundwork. And we are in the process of working with faculty regarding needs for that building. I met with a faculty member today regarding that. So that's well underway. Follow up on the fishing was a great experience. Many of you probably did see the video, but we had a fishing parade here. And that was very impressive, the fire trucks. And in fact, the city of Lake City will be doing a proclamation for both Seth and Jackson in about 2 weeks. It was really impressive. One of the comments the commentators met is they used to be a forestry school, but now they're known for fishing. I was a little upset about that, but if you realize that the audience was only fishermen, I thought it was okay to do that. So they did a great job, and after speaking to their coach, it was interesting. I said, I said that was heartbreaking because Seth Slanker, who was in the finals, had a 4-pound bass about 3 minutes before the time ended, and it snapped like 3 feet before the boat. And the coach said it was all about execution, and I was like, execution? So, but actually he lost, by losing that, he lost out on a boat and a brand new truck. So that was kind of, that was kind of for execution, but anyway. Moving on to some more academic things. So many of you know we've done a lot of articulation agreements and many signings with universities and so forth. But thanks to some of you, and thanks because of our relationship with Santa Fe College and Paul and Matt's work and my work with President Brody down in Santa Fe, we'll be doing a signing of an articulation agreement between Santa Fe College and FGC. It's going to work both ways.
Great.
And what we'll be doing is we'll be articulating our AA programs to their bachelor's degree in biotech, and they'll be integrating their AAs into our bachelor's degree in elementary ed and into our BAS in water quality management. And we'll be doing a signing with that. And what's unique about it is besides the resources that we save rather than duplicating programs, we could never do a biotech program here and make it sustainable and so forth. And they probably couldn't do a water program, even though they're much bigger than us. So this is a way of savings for the state, but also it gives opportunities to our students. And what is very unique about it is all of our articulations agreements at the state colleges tend to be between the state colleges and the universities. This is actually between state college and state college.
Does anybody else have one of those in
Well, we
Plattsburgh?
don't think so, but the thing is, so it's kind of a cool thing that we're doing. So we'll be doing that in the next few weeks.
Great.
Couple of other things, we're trying to adapt to the new workforce and the new workforce that's the conditions around us. So I have an announcement to make that Katie will be leaving the president's office, and she'll be assuming the position of Director of Benefits and Compensation, mainly doing a lot of onboarding for Cassie. And Cassie will be also taking the lead, and we've hired someone yesterday or today. Did we hire? Today. We'll be opening our after-school drop-in center at the Boys Club, which we've been trying to do for a long time. So that will open in January. So that's part of our process of trying to do some adaptation for our employees and students. It will be free of charge. It will cost us money, but we believe that it will be a retention issue on both employees and also on students, because it will be open. Currently, it will be open 3 to 7 every day. So that will be the issue there. And then the other thing we're doing is some of you have read probably through United Way and through the Chamber of this Florida State Chamber of Commerce about the reading scores for our third graders in Columbia County. So only 38 out of every 100 students in third grade in Columbia County are passing their reading scores. Wow. So that's a huge issue for Columbia County. It will impact the Columbia County schools. It may impact other schools if they transfer in. It will also impact this college in 10 years if those students are behind. And will also impact our community if we're not addressing the education system. So we've talked about this issue as an executive council, and we made a decision that we're going to be announcing tomorrow that the college will be allowing their employees 1 hour of time each week to go and do these reading pals. They desperately,
that's a wonderful program.
And the thing is, and so we need to do that, and I'm throwing down a challenge to First Federal Bank, who wanted to throw down a challenge, so see how many we can get compared to them, so that they're wanting to do it. John Medina asked me to do that, so we'll be doing that.
My employees participate, and not only is it helpful, but they love it. They love it.
And so I think it's an important thing that we do as we adapt. And the final thing I wanted to show you is we did this drive, and I want to really point out everyone in this room, but specifically Chris Brady and Tony Cardenas, and I'll talk about a little bit about the Hurricane Ian situation. They went on Monday. The day was a long day, was it not, gentlemen? I think we're still recovering. We started the day at 6:30 a.m., and I didn't get home until about 9:30. And it was rough traveling down. It was pretty bumper to bumper and back. So I want to show a video it's about a 1.5-minute video from the president of the college we brought the materials to. And then I'll talk just 2 seconds and more, and then we'll get out. I forgot about Ibby. So Ibby's going to inherit Katie's job. So I didn't want to forget Ibby. So I was reminded. Thank you. Marlon would have reminded me of that. I'm sorry. So I just think this is a really powerful video that she sent before we brought the materials, and we shared this with the campus.
Hello, I wanted to take this moment to reach out to our colleagues and friends at all the colleges in the Florida college system and just let you know what your support has been to us. It's almost impossible to put into words but I can tell you what I've seen and heard from the many people that your generosity has been able to help. It's one thing when you have those FEMA sites or you have large places you can go to get water and ice, but it's entirely something else when you know that things are coming to you from other colleges like yours, that you're part of a college that's part of a system that cares about you personally. That is about hope, and that's about love, and those are things that you just can't buy. So from our family to yours, thank you.
Thank you for looking out for us.
Thank you for supporting the manatees.
Thank you for looking out for us.
Thank you for supporting the manatees.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for looking out for us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for looking out for us.
I'm so appreciative of all you've done to help.
I'd also like to acknowledge that there were other institutions who suffered far more than we have. And our thoughts and our prayers are with you. We are here for you. We are praying for you. And just know that you're part of a system that cares. We've learned that very personally. I know you have as well. And stay strong. We'll get through this together.
So I just thought that was pretty powerful that she had sent that to us. And so we started, this started as, I actually would say that I wanted to do something 6 weeks or 8 weeks from now because that's what we did at Gulf Coast. And people tend to forget as these weeks go on in this society. So, but I was encouraged to do this sooner. And then it took on that we were going to just do something as our campus. And we had about 2 pallets. And when you think about what they asked for, it was not food. It was toothbrushes, toothpastes. So, I counted 300 deodorants in a box this big. So when we talk about 2 pallets, it doesn't sound like much, but it was so much for this campus. And then the chancellor called and said, would you do something with Santa Fe? And I said, well, we'll do more than that with Santa Fe. We'll provide the truck. So we then provided the 18-wheeler, and we provided the faculty to drive the truck, and then we also provided 4 students that were the best students in their CDL program to provide them hours for the truck driving, but also service learning. And I want to thank personally David Griswold, who was just phenomenal during that whole thing, the faculty member that just did so much with the pallets. And at the end of the day, so we started, North Florida brought down about, there's a much smaller college that brought down probably half a pallet. Friday, we packed the trailer. At 6:30 in the morning, we left. The chancellor met us. We went to Santa Fe. We loaded 8 or 9 pallets there. We then went to Central Florida, College of Central Florida and Ocala, packed the rest of the thing, and then we traveled down to Venice that day and unloaded. So Chris and Tony did a heck of a job, and those students, and the thing is just to see what they needed and so forth. And I said, how long will this stuff last? And they said, probably a day or 2. So, that's, so just, we may be one of the smallest colleges, but we have a heart and soul that's bigger than any other school. So thank you all. So, and that is my report, Mr. Chairman.
Wonderful report. Wonderful report. Any reflection on the president's report?
Say something.
Yeah.
Where did that go to?
Venice, so it went down to Venice, Florida. Yeah, so what we did is when we started getting involved with all these other schools, we decided, we provided the logistics basically for that. That's what we did, and on top of everything else. But the other school, which is really damaged, is Southwest Florida, down in Naples. But that's been covered now by Palm Beach and the bigger schools, Miami-Dade. So we took the smaller school down there. And that campus in Venice is in bad shape. The rest of the campuses were not that bad. But that campus was, and that campus about 3,000 students. So.
I went down Saturday. Our legislative office did a drive. Some of them came out of Lake City, most of it out of Baker County. But we ended up, and this is what struck me, and we ought to look at this because these huge storms just don't affect us especially. We ended up going through our delivery point was a Catholic church in Arcadia, DeSoto County.
Yep.
But they just had massive flooding. There were, what caught me by surprise, were there were campers, RVs all over town, upside down, sideways, and the water had come up. These things just floated, and they just went all over the place. And of course, Arcadia, the county seat, is probably about like McClenny, Dave.
It is.
DeSoto County is about the same size.
Is.
And the thing that struck me is about the same distance from the ocean that Baker County is.
It is.
So these things
Could hit us all.
whenever we hit Jacksonville or St. Augustine, that really opened my eyes as to the damage it does to these rural interior counties, like if it came in Cedar Key
Yep.
and caught
We all think, well, we don't live on the coast.
Yeah.
Big one comes in, you're gonna get hammered.
And of course, that's sort of a farm and agricultural area, and lots of folks just needed help anyway if they hadn't had a storm. I mean, they had a lot of migrant workers and things like that. They had a lot of rules. The church was only giving away stuff from 9 to 1. We got there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We had several pallets of order too, so I'm looking for a forklift, because we loaded it all with a forklift. And these people kept coming up, and some of the ladies had little kids wanting diapers. And they said, you know, we're only serving from 9 to 1. Well, Laura Lee's going around the back of the truck throwing diapers. But we did finally find a forklift, because I'm thinking, how are we going to throw
And that's how we-
water off without a forklift? But,
And we had our forklift,
Yeah.
and that's what we had been planning. We actually
Yeah.
called ahead, otherwise we'd have been
Yeah,
there
yeah,
till
that's-
midnight.
That's a valuable.
I mean-
And I only had a Penske 16-foot box truck, you're talking about a semi.
And you should have saw the diapers, and that was what, because we were told not to bring water, we were told not to bring food, so.
But that water is, and one of my fellow legislators lost his home to water. It was not wind damage. You basically think going in and cutting sheetrock off halfway. That they've already gutted his house. So if you live in an interior county and you're near a stream or a river, you are not immune to this damage of these huge storms. Something else. Thank you.
We were certainly very, very blessed, very fortunate here, because 48 hours before it came this way, it was coming right over.
And it amazed me the change, you know, originally it was the Big Bend, Tallahassee, then it was Cedar Key, then it was Tampa, then it was Sarasota, Bradenton, and it ended up being Fort Myers. So how they changed in that last 48 to 24 hours is really dangerous.
Okay, any topics for future meetings? The warrant register is available for inspection as always from anyone. Our next meeting, the time is set for November the 10th at 5 p.m. at the Union County School Board office. So we look forward to going to Union County. Great
And the
place to
school
go.
district is providing dinner that night for everyone.
Great.
so.
Wonderful.
Cooking again?
Okay, can we,
Mike.
if all minds are relieved, we'll entertain a motion to dismiss.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Dr. Tepedino.
Second.
We have a motion and second by Dr. Tepedino. Mrs. Allen, all in favor of that, members of the board, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Keep it to yourself. We're going.
Chuck, if you ever need those things, just call. I mean, you probably have a couple days ahead.